In early April, Jake and his 3 friends decided to go camping. The place they picked wasn't an official site. It was an old, shut-down campground near the woods in Oregon. Jake's older brother had told him about it. Said it closed in the 90s after a kid went missing, but that it was safe now, just creepy and forgotten. That was all they needed to hear. The group got there by mid-afternoon. The road was cracked and covered in branches. Half the cabins were collapsed in. The fire pits were still there and even some old benches. They picked the most intact cabin, cleaned it up a little, and set up sleeping bags. Everything felt weird, quiet, not peaceful, quiet, wrong quiet. Like the birds were watching them, not chirping. They lit a fire, made food, talked, but as the sun dipped, the mood shifted. The woods got darker than any of them expected, like pitch black just swallowed everything. Even with flashlights, the trees looked like they went on forever. Jake noticed it first. Around 10 p.m., while they were joking around, he saw a shadow between the trees. At first, he thought it was just one of the guys messing around, but the shadow wasn't moving like a person. It wasn't standing like one either. It was crouched. Its head eyes low, long. Jake froze. One of the others followed his gaze and said, "What the hell is that?" That's when it moved, fast, low to the ground. Not toward them, but around them. It circled the firelight. Every time one of them turned, it was gone. They put out the fire and ran into the cabin, locking the broken door with a metal rod. And then the sound started, scratching from under the floor, like something digging its way in. Jake shined his flashlight at the cracks and saw fingers, thin, pale, and way too long, scraping the wood and trying to pull it up. They screamed. One of them puked. Another started crying, but none of them opened the door. Not until sunlight broke through the gaps in the roof. When they stepped outside in the morning, it looked like a tornado had ripped through. Deep claw marks in trees. Rocks are thrown everywhere, but no footprints. Just one thing. Scratched into the bark of the cabin wall just outside the door. Next spring, they never camped again. You know that weird feeling you get when your phone rings late at night and you don't recognize the number? Most people just ignore it. Some block it. But Liz, she picked up. And that's when things started to spiral. Liz was a college student, living alone in a small off-campus apartment. It was early spring and the campus was quiet. Midterms had just passed, and most students were either out partying or passed out from studying. She'd just finished a long night of editing a paper and was ready to crash when her phone lit up on the nightstand. Unknown number, 1:16 a.m. She hesitated. Normally she'd let it ring, but this time, for some reason, she answered. Hello? Silence. For a few seconds, nothing but static. Then, in a whisper so faint it barely registered, a man's voice said, "I can see you." Liz froze. She sat up in bed, heart thudding so hard it made her ears ring. Who is this? No reply. The call ended. She stared at her screen, confused, a little creeped out, but maybe it was just a prank. A random creep with the wrong number. She blocked it and went back to bed, trying to shake the unease, but sleep wouldn't come. She kept glancing at the window next to her bed, the blinds half open, showing a thin sliver of the dim parking lot outside. Eventually, she drifted off. The next night, same time, another call, unknown number, 1:13 a.m. She didn't answer this time. It rang, stopped, and then rang again from a slightly different number. Liz stared at it. Her chest felt tight. Again, she didn't answer. She waited for it to stop, then checked her voicemail. One new message. When she played it back, all she heard was breathing. Shaky, raspy breathing, and then a whisper, "I'm closer tonight." Liz nearly threw her phone across the room. She locked every window, pulled the blinds shut, turned on every light. Her heart wouldn't stop racing. She tried to report it to the police, but since nothing had actually happened, they chalked it up to spam calls or a prank. But this didn't feel like a prank. The third night was different. It didn't come at 1 a.m. It came at 9:34 p.m., and this time the voice was clearer. She picked up, angry and scared. "If you don't stop calling me, I'm going to report you." The man didn't say anything for a second. Then, calm, like he was reading off a grocery list, he said, "Blue hoodie, gray shorts, hair in a bun, right window." Liz dropped the phone. That was exactly what she was wearing, and she was standing next to the right window. She ran to the other side of her apartment and called the police. This time, they sent someone over. But by the time they arrived, no one was outside. No footprints, no signs of forced entry. Nothing. The officer told her to stay with a friend for the night, and she did. She stayed at her friend Sarah's place across town, but even there she couldn't sleep. When she checked her phone at 1 a.m., one missed call, unknown number. She opened her voicemail, and this one chilled her to the bone. It was the same whispery voice. But this time it said, "You're not home tonight, but I'll wait." She never went back to that apartment. She broke her lease, got a new number, moved into a place with roommates. Even changed her class schedule to be around people more often. The calls stopped for a while, but 2 weeks later, her roommate got a call. She picked it up, not thinking anything of it. A pause, breathing, and then the whisper, "Tell Liz, I liked the blue hoodie." In a quiet suburb in Pennsylvania, a woman named Claire lived alone after her husband passed. Gardening was her escape. Spring always brought her joy. Flowers, soil, routine. That year, she decided to expand her garden deeper into the backyard, close to an old, rusted fence. No one ever went near it. It bordered unused land. She started digging, but 2 feet in, her shovel hit something hard. Not rock, not wood, metal. She cleared it off and found what looked like a sealed trapdoor, small, like the size of a crawl space. But it wasn't on any plans of the property. She tried to lift it, wouldn't budge. Over the next few days, strange things happened. She started hearing knocks, from the ground. Not the door, not the walls, the ground. She ignored it at first, but they got louder, more constant. She even asked a neighbor, an older guy named Mr. Hall, if he knew anything about it. He turned pale and said, "Don't open it. That land used to be something else. Church land, I think. Real old." She laughed it off, but the next morning, she found something sitting on her back porch. A dead bird, perfectly laid out, not torn up, just placed. She went to the trapdoor, looked at it, then she heard it. A voice, from beneath. "Mama?" She gasped, backed up, looked around. No one. Then again, "Mama, let me out, I'm cold." She ran back inside and didn't go out for days. She called police. They came, checked the backyard, said they found nothing, said the trapdoor was just old junk, sealed shut. But the next night, her house got cold, freezing, even though it was 70 degrees outside. And in the hallway mirror, she swears she saw a child standing behind her, pale. Eyes are pitch black. Mama. She moved out within the week. The new owners? They didn't last long either. Some say they finally dug it up. Others say it's still there, just waiting for the next gardener to come by.